The global pandemic is still going on? Health officials expect a peak in cases in the fall? University classes will be delivered online? This back to school season is going to look very different from previous years. So I wanted to share my tips and tricks on how you can be successful, both with your mental health, physical health, and productivity when doing lectures at home and doing self-directed study. Tip number 1 is to get a good sleep. With everything being delivered online, hopefully this means that your schedule has a bit more flexibility and you're no longer going to be forced to attend early morning lectures. Use this to your advantage and schedule your sleep in ways that work best for you. I think that there is definitely a bit of a toxic productivity culture on YouTube with people waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. and getting all their tasks done by 8. If that's not how your body naturally works, don't try and force it. For me lately, I've been waking up around 9 a.m. and this allows me to get 8 or 9 hours of sleep every day, and I still manage to get all my tasks done each day. The second thing I like to do is to consume some coffee. As much as I hate to admit my dependence on this delicious substance, caffeine definitely helps with my focus and productivity. One of my favorite things to do when I'm sipping my coffee is to go sit outside. This allows me to soak up some UV rays, and this just provides a bit of transition time to move from your bedtime sleepy mode into your official work day. The third thing I like to do is get ready for the day and take care of personal hygiene. I think this is something that goes out the window when you're working from home because it's easy to neglect. Who cares if you look like a slob if no one's going to see you? However, I strongly believe in the look good, feel good mentality. Lately, I have been taking advantage of working from home and I have completely ditched using foundation or concealer just because it isn't great for your skin, and who cares if you have a few spots of acne if nobody's really going to see you. So currently my routine consists of brushing my teeth, applying some sunscreen, filling in my eyebrows, and putting on mascara. The next thing I like to do is plan out my day. I try not to waste too much time on this because I don't want to detract from time that I can actively be studying or learning material. So something that's fairly efficient and works for me is that I start by writing out the hours of the day that I intend to do work. Right now that is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Second thing I do is I slot in the things that cannot be moved. For example, at 1:30 today, we have an orientation lecture and it is not going to be recorded. So I'm going to write that down in the 1:30 time slot to make sure that I don't miss this. The second thing I do is I write down my list of goals for the day. I take each goal and slot it into the remaining time spots. This allows me to use all the time in the day as well as accomplish my goals by that 5 p.m. mark. Sitting down and paying attention to a whole lecture while you are online and you have unlimited distractions at home, on your laptop, on your phone, is really hard. So my sort of formula for increasing your success in online lectures is to, 1, you want to increase your engagement, and simultaneously you want to decrease your distractions. So the first thing you can do to increase your engagement during online lectures is to turn your video camera on. If you're anything like me, you probably cringe at the very thought of doing that, but trust me, it works. Just the thought of knowing that the lecturer can see you, they can see your face, they can see how attentive you are, that really stimulates the feeling of being back in a lecture theater, and it will also help you pay attention more. Another way you can increase your own engagement is by participating in the actual lecture. There's a few ways to do this, especially if you're using a platform such as Zoom, and that is to answer and ask questions in the chat box, as well as challenge yourself to answer and ask questions using your microphone and video. I'm not the kind of person who likes to use their own microphone and video, so I usually stick to the chat, but even just doing that helps me stay engaged with the content. In terms of minimizing your distractions, there are many things that you can do. I made a video on increasing productivity and a lot of that tackled distractions, so if you're interested, I will link it up here so that you can watch it later. However, if you don't want to watch that, I will briefly summarize some great anti-distraction techniques. First one is to use a blocker. I use Focus and it blocks all distracting websites. So if I try to log into Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, check my email, check Amazon, I just get like an inspirational quote popping up. So this helps because if you have a split moment of weakness during a Zoom lecture or an online lecture, this app helps stop you and it helps you hit the reset button so that you can make the decision to go back to doing the lecture rather than getting caught in the rabbit hole of checking social media. Another thing I like to do is put my phone in a separate room put it on silent and put it on do not disturb. Another key part of this is also to put your watches and your laptop on do not disturb if they are connected to your phone, because it kind of defeats the purpose if you're still getting notifications on some sort of device. The other thing I like to do to help minimize distractions is have a separate study space. I like to create a workspace that cues my brain that it is time to do schoolwork and focus. I have two workstations that I switch between in case I get bored of one location. One is my desk and the second is the kitchen table. If I'm studying at a location in the house that is also used for other things, such as the dining room table, I like to transform this space into a place that cues my brain to think, this is where we get work done. For example, the kitchen table, I remove all the chairs so it feels more like a desk than a dining area, and I also like to light a candle to cue my brain that it is time to get some work done and stay focused. Next, let's talk about note-taking. So when I'm at home, there are a few ways that I like to take notes. The first way is using split screen. This is fantastic if you have a laptop or you only have one device. When I am doing split screen, I like to have my Word document on one side, as well as the document that I'm taking notes from or the Zoom lecture on the other side. Another great tip for taking notes in the split screen format is to set up your document so that you have two columns. What this does is it allows you to see all of your document that you're typing on instead of having to deal with the horizontal scrolling back and forth as you type a long line out that doesn't actually fit into that half of your screen. Hopefully I explained that in a way that it makes sense. If you have a TV that you can hook your laptop up to or a desktop monitor, this is another great option. So I like to have the lecture on the larger screen and then I use my laptop as I would normally to take notes. The third option for note taking, which is my personal favorite, is to have the lecture playing on my laptop and then take notes by hand, either on my iPad or on paper. Handwriting my notes is a way that I can increase my engagement. I find typing very passive and sometimes you just end up transcribing the lecture. However, when I handwrite the notes, I tend to pay more attention to what the lecturer is saying rather than just trying to copy down what is on the screen. Next, I want to briefly touch on study techniques when working from home. I do think that this could be a whole video in on itself. However, the one common theme is that we are all going to feel very isolated and alone if you're stuck at home all day without human interaction. So my one tip of advice would be to find a study buddy or find a study group and Zoom call or FaceTime this person and co-study with them so that you have someone that you can bounce ideas off of, ask questions, clarify with, and just have a bit of human interaction as well as a bit of motivation with another peer member. However, if you're struggling to find a study group, you don't really know anyone in your class, you haven't had the opportunity to meet them because like everything's online, don't worry, I will be your study buddy. Every so often on this channel, I live stream studying and it's super fun and I think a lot of people get lots of work done. So basically what happens is I post in the community tab when I'm going to be going live and then I ask you guys to post your goals because announcing your goals to the world will increase the chances that you achieve them. So if that's something you're interested in with the upcoming school year, hit subscribe, hit the bell button icon. Sadly, my schedule is all over the place, so the live streams are really dependent on when I just have like a 4-hour chunk of time. So yeah, that is study advice. Last but certainly not least, I do want to briefly touch on mental health and physical health while working from home, learning from home, and studying at home. Let's be honest, university is pretty hard on the brain and the body. It can be a little sad and depressing at times. And when you add into the mix of that a global pandemic, not knowing whether you will graduate on time, and losing a lot of your social interaction and social supports, it's not a great recipe for perfect mental health or physical health. So what I do is I challenge myself every day to go outside. Yeah, literally go outside, breathe some fresh air, get some sunlight on your skin, because it is so easy to get caught up in this loop of waking up at weird times, never leaving the house, and all of a sudden it's been like 6 months and you haven't been outside. Alrighty, that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're heading back to school, best of luck with all the online learning. Bye!